Hello everyone. Today we are going to start our new topic, that is friction. In this topic we have to study first the definitions of the friction, theory of friction, characteristics, laws of friction and analysis involved in the friction. So let's start our first unit, that is definition. So the meaning of friction is, it is defined as the resistance offered to the motion when one surface slide or tend to slide over the other surface. Means when we apply a load on a body, suppose this is a surface, this is a rough surface, and on this rough surface there is a body of mass m, and we have applied this load in this direction. The value of the load is p. Suppose after applying this load, this surface will resist the movement of this body in the opposite direction, and this resistance or the force applied is called as frictional force or simply a friction. So let us write the definition of friction. So this is the definition of friction. This is also called as a frictional force. The friction is also called as a frictional force. So we can write that it is also called as frictional force. So the next term in friction is advantages and disadvantages of friction. So let us see first the advantages of friction. The first advantage is that if there is a rough surface, then we will get a friction, and due to this a man can easily walk on a surface. If there is a smooth surface, there is a very less possibility of walking. A man cannot walk on a surface, but if there is a rough surface, then one can easily walk on the surface. So the first advantage is one can easily walk on a rough surface. One can easily walk on a rough surface. Second advantage is in the form of the tires of vehicles. If tires of vehicles are made up of such a special design that the friction is developed between the tires and the road, then a vehicle can be easily move on the road surface, and the accidents due to slipping can be avoided. So second advantage is in the case of tires of the vehicle. The tires of the vehicles can develop friction with the road surface. And avoid accidents due to slipping. Third advantage, we can write that the transmission of power from one place to another with the help of belt friction. If we use the application of belt friction, then power can be transmitted. So these three are the advantages of friction. Now speaking about the disadvantages of the friction, that due to friction energy loss may take place. Next thing is that if energy loss is taking the place, then more power will be required. So this is the second disadvantage, and there is a possibility of wearing and tearing of the tires and the machine parts. So these are the disadvantages. Let me write the disadvantages also so that you can note that. So these three are the disadvantages of friction. Now taking the next article, that is characteristics of frictional force. Now what are the characteristics of frictional force? This can be understood with the help of a diagram. So writing the heading, that is characteristic. So suppose this is a rough surface, as I have drawn previously also, and on this rough surface there is a body placed like this. Suppose this body is having a mass of m. So due to this mass, this body will have some weight. Okay, so the weight will be denoted by W. Let the name of this body is A. And now this body is placed on this surface, then this surface will provide a support reaction. So support reaction will be denoted like this. This is the support reaction. Suppose it is denoted by Rn. Okay, now the weight of the body is, suppose from this is the center of the body, the weight will be act from the center. So with the help of transmissibility of the force concept, we can draw the weight on the upper part of this body. So W will be acting like this. Now when we apply the force, suppose P is the value of the force and we apply this force, then friction will get started occurring at this place. So friction will act at this place and the friction will be denoted by F. Means for the existence of friction, attractive force or a force applied to the body is necessary. If there is attractive force, then this friction force will act. One more thing is that this friction force is acting in a opposite direction to the motion of the body. So these two are the characteristics of frictional forces. From the diagram we can say that the frictional force is applying in the opposite direction to the force applied, and the next thing is that this frictional force will exist as long as the attractive force exists. So these are the two main laws of the friction. Next thing is that this frictional force value will adjust itself with the P value, means as we increase the P value, F will increase. So it is a self-adjusting. So these three characteristics can be written here. So these are the characteristics of frictional force. Now the next article is theory of friction. To understand this concept, we need a diagram. Suppose a diagram, or we can say it as a graph, the graph between tractive force and the force of friction. Suppose this is y-axis and this is x-axis. On x-axis we are drawing a P value, means this is the tractive force, and on y-axis there is frictional force value. So to understand the theory of friction concept, let's apply a force to the body. Suppose this is a rough surface on which a body is placed like this, and the name of the body is A, and we are applying the force in this direction. This is called as a tractive force. Due to this force, frictional force will exist in this opposite direction, which is denoted by F. So as we start applying the force P, this frictional force will also increase, but at the initial stage when this P value is 0, then this frictional value will also be 0. So this graph will start from this origin point. As the value of P is 0, frictional force value is also 0. As we increase the P value, this F value will increase, means you will get a linear line like this, a linear graph we will see, and at some point, means at the point at which this F value becomes maximum, at some value of P, you will get the nature of graph like this, means at this point it will reach maximum value. So after increasing the maximum value, the P value will increase by F value, means P value will be more than F value, then this body will start moving, this body A will start moving, and as this body moves, the frictional force value drops down to some extent, this friction drops down to some extent, and afterwards it becomes constant. Constant means the graph will be like this. This is a straight line. So if we try to draw the graph, we will see the nature of graph is like this, and at this point we are getting a maximum value called as a limiting value of friction, and up to this point the body is in stationary position. After this point the P value increases with respect to F value and the body starts moving. When body moves, the value of F decreases to some value and it becomes constant afterwards. So up to this point, means limiting frictional point, this graph is said to be static friction. Static friction means the body is in stationary position, that's why it is called as static friction, means velocity value is 0 for the body. And after this, from here to suppose this point, it will be called as a dynamic friction. It's a continuous, this is continuous graph, then this is called as dynamic friction, and this dynamic friction will have some value of velocity V exist. Okay, so I hope that you have understand this graph, the graph between tractive force and frictional force. So moving to the next part or the next article, that is types of friction. types of friction. The friction types are classified based on the motion and based on the surface condition. First we will take the classification based on motion. Classification based on motion. So in this classification, first one is static friction. When body is not moving, then it is called as the existence of the friction is called as static friction. Okay, if body is not moving but it is tends to moving, okay, it is having a tendency to move, then it is called as static friction, but the body is not moving, means body is in rest condition, or we can say that it tends to move but it is not moving. So the first type of the friction based on the motion is static friction. Second one is dynamic friction. As the name suggests, what is the meaning of dynamic? The meaning of dynamic is that something is in motion, means this body is in motion and friction is applied to that body. So dynamic friction will exist, means the body is in motion now. When the body is in motion and it is acted by a friction, then that friction is called as dynamic friction. Third type of a friction is sliding friction. Now sliding friction is also a type of dynamic friction, means the body is in a motion but the body is sliding over the other body, that's why it is called as sliding friction. So basically the sliding friction is a type of dynamic friction only, but here the difference is that the body is sliding over each other, so it is called as sliding friction. Next is rolling friction. Now rolling friction is also a part of or a type of dynamic friction only, because the body is moving in this case also, but one body rolls over the another body, that's why it is called as rolling friction. So these are the classification based on motion. Now speaking about the classification based on the surface condition at contact. Classification based on surface contact, based on surface contact. This is the B part, that was a part, so it is a surface contact. Based on surface contact, based on surface contact we can say that there is first one is dry friction, means the surfaces between the two bodies, suppose this is a body and this is suppose another body, they are sliding over each other and they are dry, their surfaces are dry, then it is called as a dry friction. This is also called as a Coulomb friction. Okay, and suppose between these two bodies, suppose these are the two bodies, there is a fluid present. Okay, so as we all know that the fluid is a viscous, fluid has a viscous nature, every real fluid has a viscous nature. So there is the second type, that is viscous friction or a wet friction or a fluid friction. Okay, so we can write here as a fluid friction or a wet friction, dry and a wet. These are the two types of friction based on the contact in surface. The surfaces are wet, then they are called as wet friction. If they are not wet, then they are called as dry friction. So we can also draw a tree diagram for the types of friction, means we can write here friction like this, and with the help of tree diagram, means here is based on motion, you can write here like this in bracket, based on motion, and second we have set surface condition. So based on motion we have said about actually 4 types we have written, but we know that the 2 types, that is sliding and rolling, are the types of dynamic. So one is dynamic friction and one is static friction. These 2 are the types, and for surface condition, dry and wet, wet friction and dry. So in this way we can also draw a tree diagram. Now the next article is laws of friction. Now speaking about the laws of friction, these laws of friction are actually empirical. Now what is the meaning of empirical? Empirical means that these laws are based on the observations and through the experiments, and all these laws satisfies the practical problems related to the theory of friction. That's why they are called as the empirical laws. So speaking about these laws one by one, the force of friction is directly proportional to the normal reaction. As I have shown earlier, that this body, if suppose it is placed on a rough surface, this is a rough surface, this body will get supported by this surface. Suppose this is Rn value and this is the weight of the body W. this force P is applied, this restrictive force, and this F is acting in the backward direction, in this opposite direction. So force of friction, this value F is directly proportional to the normal reaction. What is the law? First law of friction, this F is directly proportional to the normal reaction. Which is the normal reaction? This is the normal reaction. Okay, so this is the first law. From where does this law came? This law came from the experiments and observations. That's why these laws are called as empirical laws. Second is, frictional force acts in a direction opposite to that in which the motion is impended. Motion is impended in rightward direction, then friction force will act in the opposite direction. So opposite direction we can write here in short, opposite direction of F. Okay, so like this we can write. We can prepare our notes in a short form also, in a short way. So third law is, frictional force depends upon the nature of two surfaces in contact. This frictional force F depends on nature of surface. Nature of surface, whether the surface is dry or it is wet or it is smooth or rough, these things affects the frictional force value. So next one is, it does not depend upon the shape and area of contact. This doesn't depend on, the first thing is shape and second one is area of contact. So after this, limiting friction is always greater than the dynamic friction. Now what is the limiting friction and what is dynamic friction? As I have said in theory of friction, this is the figure of theory of friction. This value was limiting friction value. This, the topmost value, is the maximum value of friction, that is called as limiting frictional value. This value is always greater than the dynamic friction values. So this is the one of the law of the friction, that limiting frictional value, limiting F value, that is frictional force, is always greater than dynamic friction. This is very important law. Okay, so this F value can be increased by reversing the direction of motion. F can be increased, this F value can be increased by reversing the direction of motion. So this is also one of the point. Sliding friction is always greater than the rolling friction. This is also one of the law. Sliding friction is always greater than rolling friction. So these laws we have to keep in the mind. So now we will see the important definitions, that is what is the meaning of coefficient of friction, what is cone of friction. Now let's see what is the meaning of coefficient of friction. This is the, that comes under important definitions part, important definitions in this chapter. So first one is coefficient of friction. Actually what happens, the frictional force depends upon the nature of two contact surfaces. As I have already said, means there is fluid present or it is dry, it depends on that, means the nature of two contact surface. Hence the force of limiting friction is directly proportional to the normal reaction. Now where is the normal reaction? This is the body, it is placed on a rough surface and this rough surface is giving a support to this body, which is denoted by Rn, or simply you can say N, because it is a normal reaction which is giving support to this body. If the weight of this body is W, if it is applied attractive force of P, then frictional force F will exist in this opposite direction. So what is the meaning of coefficient of friction? Actually frictional force depends upon the nature of two contact surface, means force of limiting friction, that is F, is directly proportional to the normal reaction. From where this point we have written, we have taken this from the law of friction. Okay, so from the law of friction we have written that F is directly proportional to N, but to control this directly proportional value we need a constant. So replacing this direct value by the equal to value, means equal to sign, then we have to write here one constant, then that constant will be denoted by mu. Actually I have written here Rn, this can also be written as a n only. Okay, so that's why I have written here n. F is directly proportional to n, then this factor should be controlled by some coefficient, and that coefficient is called as mu, and this mu is called as coefficient of friction. So F divided by n is equal to mu actually. So what is mu? Mu is the coefficient of friction. And what is F value? F value is frictional force, n value is normal reaction. These both are of the force, that's the coefficient of friction is a unitless quantity or a dimensionless quantity. Because F is also a force, frictional force, it is having a unit of Newton, and normal reaction is also a force which is providing a support from the base. This is also a force, that's why the Newton upon Newton you will get cancel these values and you will get a dimensionless quantity. So mu is a dimensionless quantity. So constant mu is called as a coefficient of friction. Actually mu have a different values for different materials, means for steel the mu value is generally 0.4. okay, so just for our knowledge I am writing here the mu value for steel, it is 0.4. okay, now the next definition is angle of friction. Now what is angle of friction? Actually see, when limiting equilibrium is reached, where is the limiting equilibrium is? Let me show you from the graph. Actually this is the graph we have drawn already in between the tractive force and force of friction. The nature of graph was like this. First it was linear, then after reaching some value, maximum value, that limiting friction value, it decreases to some extent, and afterwards it becomes a constant. So this is the nature of the graph. So from this graph, when limiting equilibrium is reached, means limiting equilibrium at this point is reached, the body just tends to move, means body starts to move when the limiting equilibrium value reaches here. Okay, so limiting frictional force F and normal reaction N can be compound to give a resultant. Now where is the this value, means frictional value F, this is the frictional value F, this friction F is applied like this on a body, and normal reaction is N, this one. So if we compound these two things, then we will get a resultant. Okay, so we will get a resultant, and the angle made by this resultant with the normal reaction we will call it as a angle of friction. Means drawing this F by the concept of transmissibility of force here, suppose this is the F value, then compounding these two forces you will get one resultant. Okay, so this is the R value, that is, this is the resultant value. So angle between this normal reaction, this one, and this resultant, this is called as the angle of friction. I hope you have understand what is the meaning of angle of friction. It is the angle made between the resultant made with the help of frictional force and normal reaction and the normal reaction. This angle is called as angle of friction. Okay, so if we try to just draw these things, okay, this frictional force, if we try to draw like this, this is the resultant R. So we are shifting just with the help of transmissivity of law this R to this value, means we are just shifting R here. If this is a angle of friction, it is suppose it is denoted by phi, then this phi will be equal to this value. Okay, this is phi. So we can very well write here this tan phi. What is the formula for tan value? It is opposite by adjacent. And what is adjacent here? Opposite upon adjacent. So opposite is this is, and this line is parallel to F value. So we can write here F. Okay, and as we have already said that when body tends to move, means limiting friction is reached, so we will write here F limiting divided by adjacent side. Now to this phi, this is the adjacent side, and this side is analogous to this one, and this is normal reaction. Normal reaction is denoted by N. So we can very well write here N, F limiting divided by N. And what is the meaning of F? F is mu into N. When F tends to move, when body tends to move, this F reaches to the limiting value. So you can also write here F limiting is equal to mu into N. At this point, F limiting value is mu into N, divided by n, then it will become as mu. So tan phi is equal to mu in short. What we have found here, tan phi, phi is what? Phi is angle of friction, then this value is equal to mu. Like this term we have got here. So in examination, especially in MCQ type of examination, you may find this relation. They will ask you whether tan phi is equal to or it is not equal to mu. So now the next definition is angle of repose. Now what is the meaning of angle of repose? See, it is a very simple thing. What is the angle of repose? Means suppose this is the inclined surface and this is the body placed over this surface. Okay, so it is the maximum inclination of inclined plane. This is the inclined plane. It is having some inclination. So the maximum inclination of inclined plane with the horizontal. This is horizontal surface. Okay, so that body kept on it is just on the point of moving down due to its own weight only. Okay, suppose this body is having mass m. Due to this mass m, it is having a weight w. So due to this self weight of the body, it is on the verge of moving down this inclined plane. So it is the maximum inclination at which this body tends to move over this inclined plane. So suppose if the inclination was, suppose this much was the inclination and body is placed on it, then due to its self weight, if this body is not able to move along this inclined plane. So we have increased this inclination to more extent. Suppose this is now the body is placed like this, it is having w here. Now this inclination is such that this body starts moving along this inclined plane, means it is the maximum value with the horizontal such that the body moves along the inclined plane due to its self weight. So I hope that you have understood what is the meaning of angle of repose. It is the maximum inclination. Just remember this thing, it is the maximum inclination due to which the body can move over the surface with the help of its self weight. So we can write here, actually we can draw this diagram completely. Suppose this is the w value and this angle is denoted by theta. This is the reaction this body is getting from this side. So with the help of transmissibility law, we can shift this normal reaction to here. Okay, if body is moving like this, means in this direction due to self weight, then frictional force will act in opposite direction. So this is the F value. Okay, when body tends to move, means this F value reaches to its maximum value, means it is F limiting, or we can also write as F max. Okay, so if this is the theta, then this will make angle theta here also. Okay, if this is theta, then this will also be theta by the geometry of the figure. Okay, now we all know that F max or the F limiting is equal to mu into n. Okay, so what is mu here? Mu is F max divided by n. We know this thing. Okay, now applying the condition of equilibrium along and across the plane, then we will get F max is equal to w sin theta. How? See here, this is the w. Okay, and this is having inclination of theta with this plane. Suppose if we resolve this w in these two planes, here and here, like this, then w here it will be having theta with this, so it will be w cos theta. This w is making theta with this side, then this side will have a component w cos theta and this side will have a component w sin theta. Then when we try to resolve these forces in x direction, suppose this is the x axis and this is the y axis, suppose this is x axis and this is y axis along this plane, then on x axis there is F force, F max and w sin theta. No other force is existing. So F max is equal to w sin theta, we can write very well here. And also equating in y direction, you can see that n is there and w cos theta is there and no any other force is there. W is placed here like this. Okay, and we have assumed that this inclined plates as x and y axis. So n is equal to w cos theta, like this. So dividing these things, means w sin theta and w cos theta and F max by Fn, you will get F max divided by n is equal to w sin theta divided by w cos theta. So cancelling these w's, and writing again it, we will get sin theta upon cos theta is tan theta, means tan theta is equal to what now? It is f max divided by n. Okay, and we have already seen that what is f max by n? F max by n is mu, so tan theta is equal to mu. So what we have found here, mu is equal to tan theta, and previously what we have found, this mu is equal to tan phi. Mu is also equal to tan phi, means what we have found here, tan theta is equal to tan phi, means theta is equal to phi. So this is our conclusion, that theta is equal to phi. And what is theta? Theta is angle of repose. And what is phi? Phi is angle of inclination. So we have reached to this conclusion that angle of repose is equal to angle of friction. Okay. Now coming to the next definition, that is cone of friction. Now what is the meaning of cone of friction? Actually, see, if the body is impending motion in a particular direction and resultant makes limiting angle alpha. Actually, where is the resultant acting? Suppose this is the body. Suppose this is the rough surface, and on this rough surface there is a body here. Okay. Say suppose this body is moving with the help of tractive force P. This body is having a self weight of W, like this. Support reaction is this N. Okay. So there is also a force of friction F. This is the rough surface. So what happens actually, when you draw this F in this way, in this manner, you will compounding this F and N to get a resultant. Suppose this is the resultant value, and if we write here the angle between the R, that is resultant, and N, we write it as a alpha. Suppose we write it as a alpha, and this resultant makes limiting angle alpha with the normal in that direction. Actually, what is, if the body is impending motion in a particular direction and resultant makes limiting angle alpha with the normal in that direction, when direction of force P is gradually changed through 360 degree, the resultant R generates a right circular cone. Actually, what we are doing now, we are moving this P in a circular manner. Then what will happen, this R will also rotate along it, means you will get one cone actually, like this. This cone will form here. If we try to rotate with the help of P, this body, if we try to rotate with the help of this P force, then we will get this cone actually. Okay. So this R value means this resultant, it generates a right circular cone with semi-central angle equal to alpha. If the resultant is on the surface of the inverted right circular cone whose semi-central angle is equal to limiting frictional angle for the motion of the body is impending, as I have shown here, like this, means this is the N normal reaction and this is the resultant, then there is having a semi angle, that is alpha, then this angle is called as cone of friction. Okay, you have understand, means what is the cone of friction. Actually, cone of friction, what we have trying to explain you here, that cone of friction, how does it is occurring, if this P is rotated, due to the rotation of P, this R will also get rotated, and this R will make a cone like this. This type of shape will be formed with the help of R, that shape having angle of alpha, and that is called as cone of friction. Okay, let's move to the next point, that is limiting frictional force. I have already said you what is the meaning of limiting frictional force. Suppose this is the fourth definition. So fifth definition is limiting frictional force. Limiting frictional force. Now what is the meaning of limiting frictional force? I have already read F limiting is equal to F max. And what is F limiting and F max? It is equal to mu into N. So this is the simple definition of the limiting force of friction. So the remaining part of this chapter is the problems based on the various properties of friction.